The first fans have arrived early for opening night at Boston University's spectacular Agganis Arena. Many of the greats from BU's past, like Mike Eruzione, Mike Sullivan, and Chris Drury, are here to usher in that new era. And what an opening for the 6th week in a row. Minnesota is ranked #1 in the country. They're here to face this Terrier team, ready to turn the page to a new chapter.
That new chapter remains to be written. I think you'll see that tonight.
It's the best seat in the house. The building can't open up quicker.
Bring some of the old stuff from this building and bring it over there, and it's going to fit right in.
These guys get to start a whole new tradition.
The tradition will continue. We'll just start another tradition at another building.
Terrier tradition meets Minnesota tradition tonight. Two of college hockey's most storied programs start a new chapter next. And for the first time at Agganis Arena, here are the Boston University Terriers taking the ice. This team opens a spectacular new arena here in the hub. We're at Agganis Arena. We're the #1 team in the country. The Minnesota Golden Gophers are here for opening night against the 11th ranked Boston University Terriers. And welcome to this special edition of CSTV's Friday Night Hockey. I'm Eric Freed. We said goodnight to an old friend last night, Walter Brown Arena, after 34 years the home of Boston University hockey. But tonight, it's a new era, a new chapter for Boston University here at really a showcase for all of college hockey. Agganis Arena, named after a legendary athlete who played more than 50 years ago here at Boston University, Harry Agganis. It will seat a full house, obviously, here tonight, 6,300, and everyone has a perfect seat here at a place that Jack Parker calls perfect, but Billy Jaffe, he's a little biased because he practically built this place and certainly designed it.
Well, he did a great job in designing it, and he should be biased because he did a beautiful job with building it as well. But last night, it was all about the history and nostalgia that is BU hockey and was Walter Brown Arena. But it was, again, a lot about the old players of past. Now the new players, they've got a new palace to play in.
All right, let's take a look back at last night because there were quite a few of the former BU Terriers honored, including that national championship team from 1971 and 1972 that won that first year Walter Brown Arena was open. Then they dropped the puck.
And we had a great game early on, and it was really Minnesota that carried the play. And there's 2 power play goals that got them going in the first period. The second one, this one coming up with just 4 seconds left by one of their stars, Danny Ehrman, to put him up 2-0. But BU, the Terriers, came back. A goal in the third period on the power play by Brad Zancanaro. Made it a great game. The crowd was jumping. Section 8 was going crazy, but they couldn't tie it up. And in the end, it was a Minnesota victory. And then they ripped the numbers off, and here we are tonight.
And then after the game ended, they brought out over 200 former players, including Travis Roy, for a final photo at Walter Brown Arena. Now we've moved on to a new night here for the Boston University Terriers here at Agganis Arena. And there's only one retired number in BU hockey history, and number 24 hangs from the rafters here at Agganis. Travis Roy's been a part of this BU program since 1995, and he's with Dave Scarman.
Thanks, Eric. I'm here with Travis Roy. Travis, a huge weekend for the alumni here at BU.
It's a proud night for the alumni. Got a beautiful new rink, great team to support. It's an exciting time, and looking forward to the rest of the year and the future of the Boston University program.
Travis, great to see you.
Great to see you, too.
Eric, back upstairs to you.
The Terriers plan on bringing the energy, excitement, and emotion from their old home to their new ice palace. Minnesota spoiled the party at Walter Brown last night. They're set to crash it again.
Good time.
It's opening night at Agganis Arena. The puck drops for the first time next. We are back on Commonwealth Avenue at Agganis Arena. And just a few moments ago, we heard from Travis Roy, and he had the honor of dropping the puck for the first time here at Agganis Arena. Great to have Travis here with us tonight. Part of opening night at Agganis Arena. And again, there is a game to be played here, Billy. And a guy who played very well last night for Minnesota, Kellen Briggs, in net again.
Played very well the last 6 games, as has his team. 6-0 in that time, and not allowed an even strength goal since December 11th.
John Curry made 29 saves last night, kept BU in that game, but they lost it 2-1.
2 quick power play goals, or 2 goals actually on the power play that happened quickly, really almost out of his control. He did play very well last night, made a lot of big saves, kept his team in the game.
Jack Parker, this is the house that Jack built. Let's be the first to say it right there.
Everything.
703 career wins for Coach Parker, and this is career game number 700 for Don Lucia, the head coach for the Golden Gophers. And what a thrill for Don and his team as well to be a part of closing night and opening night. Scott Hansen, the referee here tonight, assisted by Tom Quinn, Kevin Shea. And we are set to begin at Agganis Arena, the first game ever here at this hockey showcase. Right away, icing, Minnesota. So if you're keeping the trivia here, 7 seconds in the first whistle. We'll stop that though. The Bud Light key line for the Minnesota Golden Gophers.
Well, we're going to focus on the Evan Kaufman line tonight. Ben Gordon back in the lineup after serving a game DQ for last night. Game got into a fight last week in the Dodge Classic in Minnesota. He's being flanked by the big senior Barry Talixon.
Quick shot on goal, save made by Briggs. Certainly one of the keys here for Boston University, picking up where they left off. They outshot Minnesota in the third period last night. They had the only goal of the period. They played a very good period of hockey, had Minnesota back on their heels.
They got their legs going. They had their legs going, especially to the neutral zone.
Zancanaro is the one who sparked that comeback. He had the goal, a power play goal, 5-on-3 advantage for BU last night. Zancanaro really turning into a fan favorite here along Commonwealth Avenue. Got a great round of applause when he was introduced. All the Terrier players were introduced before the start of this game. Minnesota trying to get it out. Banning on the clearing attempt was Harrington, but Minnesota trying to turn nothing into something as Patolny, the leading goal scorer in the country, carried it in deep. Back the other way comes Dan Spang. Spang across the red line. Dumped it in. That was touched by the captain, Brian McConnell, who's been a big part of all these pregame ceremonies here at Agganis Arena. Tough for Brian and perhaps his teammates really to focus on the game here, but they've had a chance to practice here, even though this is the first game. So they're a little familiar, but really an even playing surface when Minnesota and BU go head-to-head here, because this is the first time either team has played. Minnesota trying to carry it out. Mike Pinelli dumps it into the zone. Schaefer goes back, Spang there as well. Send out to Ken Roche for Boston University. Working along the far corner. Crowd getting here early. Big hit there delivered on Ryan Weston. They open the gates half hour earlier than normal. There's a shot that just goes wide off the stick of Mike Howe. So people started filling in here about 90 minutes before game time. And it was an early arriving crowd to be here for all the pregame festivities. And really, it's like watching a group of tourists when we were walking around. I mean, they're looking around. Oh, look at that picture.
Self-guided tours. That's what they're giving themselves here. All they're missing were the headsets.
2 BU players go down. Vodasovic comes in to deliver the hit. Morrow pokes it back forward for the Terriers.
And you had to figure that Minnesota really wanted to set the tone early again tonight, like they did last night, this time more physically than last night.
Talixon circles back around through center ice. He takes a bump from McGurk. Fourth line out there, Brian McGurk, freshman out of Danvers, Mass. Right in front of the Minnesota bench. That's picked up by the Gophers. Borgen did not play last night. Borgen and Gordon both in the lineup here tonight. Snaggard buzzing around the puck. Fleming has it out to Harrington. There's Harrington. They work it around the boards. Snaggard there. Morrow goes to the corner for Boston University. Scoreless. Opening minutes at the new Agganis Arena here in Boston. Back to the point. Harrington. Fanned. BU has a chance to break out 3-on-2. Here come the Terriers. Broken up at the blue line. That was snuffed out pretty quickly. Jakobs Redleeds back for BU. Through center ice, here's Zancanaro. Zancanaro splits defender, shoots it wide. Big rebound comes out to the left of Briggs. Borgen gave it right back in the bump in front of the Minnesota bench. Center ice, Ehrman couldn't control it. Vandergulik bounces it just off the outside of the goal. Didn't miss by much. The Liberty back behind the net. Finds Miller. Brian Miller into traffic. didn't get all the way through. Here's Ehrman. Ehrman puts on the brakes, waits for help, sends it to the far boards. Dangerous Patolny here, and Curry gloves it, stopping play. A lot of contact here in the early going at Agganis Arena, but so far, no score. Back here at Agganis Arena, here's a look at the Bud Light key line for Boston University.
Now, Brad Zancanaro had the goal last night, already had one, almost had one, tonight. He's in between Liberty and Vandergulik. We get a chance to take a look at his quick shot. You want to talk about confidence? He calls it puck luck. Zancanaro does, but I call it confidence, and I call it being all over the puck.
Zancanaro scored the final goal of Walter Brown Arena. The question is, who will score the first goal here at Agganis Arena? Weston, a little bit of space here, tried to thread it all the way through, couldn't get there. He'll go back after it.
You see how
Terriers 11-7 on the season. Golden Gophers 16-4. They've won 6 in a row. That's up into the crowd. Stopping play. CSTV would like to welcome all of our viewers in Canada who are watching tonight's game on the NHL Network.
on that last rush coming out of their own end, Boston University holding on to the puck. It was Roach that was trying to attack out of his own end with the puck, meaning not give it up real quick and force one of the Minnesota forwards on him, suck him in, and then dish the puck, and he did a nice job of that. They were practicing that this morning.
Off the draw, and a quick shot from Ben Gordon, gloved by John Curry. Curry, the sophomore from Shorewood, Minnesota, was the third-string goaltender. Walk-on when he came to BU.
Now the walk-on makes a real nice save here off of the youngster Gordon. Gordon doesn't take any time to get that shot off. Make sure that he gets on net.
After a real poor weekend for Boston University to start the season, 5-1 loss to Miami, 7-2 loss to Michigan at the McFadden Invitational. Curry got the call in that Michigan game, played well, and he's played quite a bit since then. 9-3 on the season with a goals against average of a shade under 2. Sullivan. Centering pass attempted by Brian Ewing. Here comes Minnesota. Talixon off the end boards. He'll chase after it. Centering pass, nothing there. Matt Radoslavich. He'll just dump it in and go off on a change. Minnesota works it back into the BU zone. Scoreless here. 5.5 minutes gone by. Opening period at Agganis Arena here in Boston. Through center ice. McGurk chases after it. Back after it is P.J. Atherton. Far side. Smagger. Touched it to Fleming. Taken away by the Terriers.
You can already tell both teams trying to do more direct passes in this early going in the first period than last night when a lot of indirect plays happened.
The dimensions of this rink and the shape of it change that at all? It's 5 feet wider here at Agganis Arena, and it just has a different feel than Walter Brown.
Feels like the Grand Canyon compared to Walter Brown inside here. But yeah, 5 feet makes a whole lot of difference in the game of ice hockey.
Here comes Zancanaro, taking a shot, score! That's an easy one to remember. The last goal at Walter Brown, the first one at Agganis Arena, scored by Brad Zancanaro. 1-0 Terriers.
And as if on cue, our Bud Light key line centerman taps the keg. The turnover in the neutral zone. Zancanaro follows the bouncing puck, and he gets the goaltender Briggs moving just a little bit, gets the shot off quickly, goes through the 5-hole for the first goal for the BU Terriers here at Agganis Arena.
Boston University leading Minnesota 1-0 here in the first. Zancanaro scoring at 6:15 of the first. BU looking for more with Liberty. Liberty waiting, looking for Zancanaro. Minnesota's going to keep an eye on Zancanaro as well. Liberty carries it all the way around. Turns back, finds Vandergulik. Zancanaro camping out in front. Hopped over his stick and out to center ice.
He was camping out in front and he had a tent mate, and that was Miller. The defenseman came in. That's Jack Parker hockey there. Throw the defense in and help out.
And Spang carries in across the blue line. And on the backhand, centering pass to Weston went wide. Now the wraparound, McConnell, the captain, takes a couple of whacks at it. Nothing there. Spang makes the pass. Here's the shot. Goes wide. McConnell back on the near boards. Weston. Stevens carries in and tries to get it out. Sent down towards center ice. Spang there for Boston University. I'd say that BU has picked up where they left off last night. But now a chance back the other way. Minnesota breaking in. Hirsch takes a shot, missed the target. End-to-end action here at the new rink as BU tries to settle and set up a 3-on-2. That doesn't develop though, but it's going to be kept in by Weston. Weston walks in, shoots. Save made, but the rebound was out in front. Now Morrow takes a shot. That doesn't get all the way through, and it's sent to the far boards. Here comes Gino Geyer. Scored a goal last night at Walter Brown. Quickly back the other way. McConnell dumps it in.
You know, you ask about the difference. Well, that last chance by Hirsch for Minnesota, he was able to get behind the defense because of those extra 5 feet or so. You can hide out a little bit more.
Centering pass, good setup here. The extra pass made. Curry came out to challenge, and he's got it. He's well out of his crease, but he stood his ground to make the save for BU. We'll show you that save when we come back from break. As we take you to break, Brad Zancanaro celebrates the first goal at Agganis.
On the Brad Zancanaro goal, BU's up 1-0. However, that lead was almost short-lived. Great pass, Hirsch. Defenseman coming in, Vanelli, and then it's Geyer going through the crease, and Gino Geyer shakes it right through the crease there. No shakes for that guy. John Curry, 4-1-0 in his last 5 games. He was down on his rear end. Fortunately for him, the puck went through the crease instead of into the empty net there. A nice kind of tic-tac-toe play by Minnesota.
Gophers come back and now carry out. Minnesota still the #1 team in the country. 6 weeks in a row, and Boston University gets on the board first. When that happens, they've had some success this year.
Well, it just sets the stage. I mean, it's one of those stats that I really do believe in. Sometimes stats are overrated, but scoring first gives your team something that intangible you can't measure, and that's confidence. You get out, you have a good start to the game, you get going.
Especially after last night, Jack Parker summing it up, saying his team was legless in the first period. You know, all the pomp and circumstance of the farewell at Walter Brown Arena, and sometimes you forget to skate a little bit and play the game, and Minnesota didn't. Yeah,
you think too much. You're worried about too many of the little things instead of the big thing of playing hockey.
Minnesota didn't have that problem. They got the 2 power play goals, including that second goal with 4 seconds to go in the period that really sucked a little bit more life out of BU.
They always say it's easier to play on the road because of the focus.
Kaufman carries in deep. Atherton deflected, and Curry's going to glove this one. Boston University is the first place team in Hockey East with an 8-1 record. They've had their ups, they've had their downs. You see, they lost those first 2 games and won 7 of 8. The streaks this year for this team, it's been amazing. They've had a 3-game winning streak and 2 4-game winning streaks.
Yeah, and a lot of it early on was the fact that they didn't have their goaltending set and that they had so many young players that they were relying on in their lineup. But after the first few games, everything settled down, and they got confidence in the nets with John Curry. And also, Jack Parker says the young players, they started taking charge, and the seniors started helping them out even more, and that helped build confidence for the entire Carrier club.
Oh, look at tonight's lineup. 6 freshman forwards on the ice for Boston University. Fleming carries in for Minnesota, loses the edge, and BU can carry out. 4-on-2 here for the Terriers. Shot, save. McGirt came in and tried it quickly on Briggs. Now back comes Snaggart for Minnesota. Needs some help, has it. Chucko tries to tee it up, but coming back on the play was Monahan. Monahan getting the assist on the goal by Zancanaro to make it 1-0 Boston University.
Well, that was just a battle of fourth lines that was out there. Monahan did a nice job on the back check there and helped thwart that potential Minnesota pass.
Let's join the 3rd member of our crew, Dave Starman.
Thanks, Eric. I know you touched on the fact that the rink is 90 feet wide. Jack Parker didn't want it to be 100. He doesn't like the Olympic size sheet. Wanted a little more room on each side, so he settled on 90. That's a couple extra feet on each side of the ice. Eric?
Bouncing around in front, Minnesota's Chucko trying to settle it. Gophers down 1-0. Going to end up back behind Curry and the BU net. Penalty-free first period so far here at Agganis as the Terriers carry out. La Liberty. Vandergulik touched his stick. Zankanaro's going to go to the corner with Vandergulik to go after it. La Liberty trying to get free. Vandergulik on his knees. Couldn't sweep it out of there, and here's Patolny. Ryan Patolny. Sophomore from Grand Forks, North Dakota. 19 goals on the season. Morrow. Herman chasing. La Liberty after it. And here comes Sean Sullivan to send it back the other way. That was flipped up and out of play. Stopping play with 8:55 to go here in the first.
You know, Dave Starman just talked about, what we all have touched on, how it's 90 feet wide. And Eric, I don't think that's a bad solution for the NHL. If and or whenever it comes back to playing. But it gives a little bit more room, a little bit more free flowing, yet it's not too big. And I agree with Jack Parker that the 100, the Olympic sheet, the 100 is just too wide. It's good for the international, but that's what they're used to in Europe. But I say stick with the 90 feet, the kind of in the middle type range right there. Just gives a little bit, that much more space for better open hockey.
Parker's teams recently have played well on bigger sheets. They've had a lot of success at UNH's Whittemore Center, which is an Olympic-sized sheet. Last year they had two 5-5 ties against Minnesota at Mariucci, another Olympic-sized sheet, but one a little smaller. Here's an opening quickly for Howe, who missed the mark. And that whistle stops play. As we get set for a face-off, let's bring you tonight's trivia question. Who are the only two former Boston University Terriers to win the Stanley Cup twice? We'll have the answer a little bit later on. Well, ice surface is one thing in this building, but when you talk about amenities, I don't think they forgot anything as far as the locker room's concerned, the training room is concerned.
No, they have a theater for 27 people to sit, a real stadium seating theater for the kids to be able to go into, the players, and watch film there to break it down, something they never had over at Walter Brown.
And for the fans here, too, very steep, reminiscent of Boston Garden, how you kind of look down at the ice surface. The farthest seat is just 60 feet from the nearest piece of ice. During our first intermission, we'll take you behind the scenes, take you all around this wonderful arena. That's coming up in just a little bit. 7:40 to go before intermission. Offsides, the call. Well, step aside. Boston University on a goal from Brad Zancanaro, leading 1-0 here in period one. Well, I mentioned a little while ago, he's turning into a fan favorite here. He keeps scoring historic goals, and it's going to keep going up for Brad Zancanaro.
Well, Brad Zancanaro is really earning his keep in the Terrier uniform. Last night, scoring that big goal in the third period to make it a 2-1 game in favor of Minnesota, and then making it a 1-0 game just a few moments ago for BU, putting him up with a nice quick shot through the 5-0. This is a relentless player. I mean, last night we called him a rat Boston Terrier because he nips at your heels and he keeps his feet moving. He earns his keep by just always being around the play. He never stops moving those feet of his, and he has earned the praise of his head coach, Jack Parker.
Curry back, settle it, comes out in front, backhander, went off the skate of Morrow. Minnesota not done as Fleming works it around. There's Sertic. That's stopped by Sullivan. Monahan will just hack it down the ice. It's up on edge, but does have enough to get all the way down for icing.
Don Lucia very happy with his team's effort last night. He said, this is a road game. When I talked to him this afternoon, meaning, you come in and you keep a team to one goal at a great place like Walter Brown Arena. We played so beautifully defensively. He said, I really didn't find anything I didn't like about that game. And I said, well, what did you like most? He said, just overall defensive effort. Our guys were on the right side of the puck. Our positioning was excellent. And he said, we came in prepared. He's very concerned about that. Remember, you and I talked an awful lot about that last night, knowing the emotion of the game. And he said, I was very happy with the way they came out prepared.
Yeah, they certainly matched it last night with a strong first period that set the tone. That went through Vandergulik. Back after it is Chris Harrington for Minnesota. Here's Danny Ehrman, second leading goal scorer on this Minnesota team. 13 goals on the season. Got one last night. Great chance here, and that misses the mark. Ehrman back after it. BU out of the zone. Harrington back. Through center ice. Ehrman turning and looking for it. Chucko gives Redlease a bump. Now Zancanaro after it. Zancanaro works it around to Vandergulik. Vandergulik for Brian Miller. 6:24 to go, first period. Boston University on top, thanks to a goal by Brad Zancanaro, is on the ice right now. But BU's having some problems getting the puck out, with Minnesota putting some pressure on. Now Zancanaro with a little touch to Vandergulik. He'll dump it all the way down. BU makes a change, settled there by sophomore Kellen Briggs. Both players looking for the puck. It's picked up by the captain, Judd Stevens, for Minnesota. Now Hirsch. Minnesota dumps it in, and Schaefer has it for BU. Weston. Weston all the way down. Mike Benelli there. Benelli has some space. Here's Geyer. Geyer carries in all the way. That's deflected off the top of the glass. Now Howe. Geyer back behind the net. Geyer and Schaefer go to battle. Now Spang comes to join the fight. Schaefer still battling there. Hirsch comes in to take it, but it goes back to Roche. Roche trying to find Ewing. He touched it forward to center ice. Now Radoslavich. Radoslavich just sends it in, and BU will settle back after making a change. 5 minutes to go, first period. Peltier, that was touched by Hirsch, so no icing. Now Peter MacArthur. MacArthur tied for the team lead in scoring with 18 points on the season, 9 goals, 9 assists. Here's MacArthur, very dangerous. He was dangerous last night. That shot slowed down. Ewing tried to follow up and sent it wide. Serdich, it's onside. Morrow there defensively, helped out by Sullivan. Sullivan on the far boards. Radoslavich comes in. Radoslavich looks for help. Here's MacArthur. Starts to skate out of Ewing's reach. Sent back in by Serdich.
Well, you know, you can tell that MacArthur-Ewing line, Radoslavich, a little bit out of sync. I thought they were good last night in spurts, but not as usually skilled or noticeable as they have been in the past. Maybe because Chris Bork's not there means an awful lot, but also don't forget, Ewing hasn't played a lot of hockey. They look a little bit out of sync. They can get it going, though, at any time.
Fleming takes a bump. Yeah, when Chris Bork does return from the World Juniors, he won't be able to return to the ice out 2 to 4 weeks with an injury.
Yeah, they said for sure he won't play next weekend against Boston College, but maybe the week after that.
Lindbergh tries to send it in front, taken away by Minnesota. Here comes the race for the puck. Curry comes well out to send it towards the near boards. Now has to retreat as Smaggart comes in. Taking a tumble is Fleming. McGough goes after it with Miller, picked up by Smaggart. Miller watches him. Now back to Stevens at the point. Harrington wants to tee it up, still waiting. Stevens jumps off his stick, knocked down before it gets to Curry. Smaggart setting up to the side, wants a one-timer, but didn't receive it the way he wanted to. Harrington, Stevens. Stevens tried to make the extra pass. That was knocked down. Intended for Borgen. Minnesota setting up like they're on a power play right now. It's 5-on-5.
They can't get the puck to that mid-slot area like they were able to last night.
Harrington. Stevens. Look back around. The shot. That's deflected wide off the stick of Borgen. BU looks like they're just trying to send it down for an icing. Can't. Harrington tried to make that extra move. Ends up back behind the net. Minnesota buzzing right here. And now finally picked up and sent all the way down the ice. And the Terrors will gladly take an icing. During our first intermission, we'll go to New York for a breakaway at the Fieldhouse. We'll have that special look at the new home of BU hockey, Agganis Arena. We'll also go ringside with Dave Starman as He'll talk with BU Athletic Director Mike Lynch about getting this place built. $95 million in Boston, no less. I mean, hey, it's tough to build things around here.
You know, it took less time than the big dig. And that's an accomplishment. I don't know if that is an accomplishment. I don't think
there are so many jokes on so many different levels there that people from New England are telling themselves right now. $14 billion doesn't go as far as it used to for the big dig.
No, it doesn't.
Here comes
it almost gets the New York Yankees roster, though, if you're a Red Sox fan.
Well, that went over $200 million, so, you know, that budget keeps going higher and higher.
Boston University, Jack Parker, the head coach, has got to be pretty happy with his team start in this game. I know he wasn't overly disappointed in last night's effort. I think he felt the kids worked real hard. I talked to Mike Bavis, his assistant coach, for a while this morning after morning skate, and they weren't unhappy with the effort so much as it was the execution of certain things. They didn't, you know, they didn't complement each other well on 2-on-1s at times. They didn't get going until the third period. This first period, they've got to be pretty happy with their execution.
2 minutes to go here in the first period. Boston University leading 1-0. Peltier took a tumble, now back up. Hirsch and Zancanero collide as Hirsch came out to the ice. Well, Liberty sends it in, and BU will make a change. Get a little chippy here the last minute or so.
I thought Hirsch might have gotten away with one on Zancanero. He came up with the arm, hit him in the face area.
McConnell comes flying in. Here's a shot on goal. It was slowed down, and Griggs had to knock it aside. Hanson, the referee, made an indication maybe did that catch a little pipe on the way through that first shot.
Gave the no goal signal.
Ow, that's knocked down by McConnell. McConnell, Morrow. Sullivan goes after it for the Terriers. Now Sullivan, the defenseman, will try to carry all the way out. Hans still chasing after the puck. Final minute, first period. Hirsch comes in on Brian McConnell, sends it to the corner. He's hurt, down in the circle. They're playing on. McConnell and Hirsch squaring off again. And now our first penalty, and this is going to go against Boston University. McConnell and Hirsch still debating in front of the net, but the penalty came behind the net.
There's a good battle going on between Hirsch and McConnell. Earlier, it was Hirsch, though, that went down. It was a Terrier sandwich. You're going to see it right here. McConnell backing up's going to hit one, and then coming in right there. You see that? Number 7, was it Vandergulik? I beg your pardon, number 4. Sean Sullivan catches him with a little bit in the head. Here's the penalty right here. Geyer being held and then thrown down by the big defenseman, Tom Morrow. That's what the penalty right there. Morrow, big kid. 6'6", 6'7".
6'7", 213, the tail of the tape for Tom Morrow. Patolny. Remember, Minnesota got a power play goal in the final minute of the first period yesterday at Walter Brown. First power play for this Minnesota team that's clicking at 23% on the season, but you were doing some research before the game. They're really clicking over the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, Minnesota power play the last couple of weeks been just, I mean, absolutely on fire. On fire.
Miller clears it out. There's the horn ending the first period, and a standing ovation from the BU fans here at Agganis Arena after the goal from Brad Zancanero put them on top 1-0 here in the first.
Overall good period if you're a Boston University fan. Not a bad period either, Eric, by Minnesota. They were able to keep it just a one-goal game, and hey, stay tuned. Minnesota outscoring some opponents by a good margin there in the second period, so we know they're a dangerous team.
Don Lucia whispering a little something to his top scorer, Ryan Patolny. We'll see what happens in the second period. We're going to take you to New York for a breakaway in just a few.
Located on the campus of BU, the new Agganis Arena is set to put hockey back on the map for the Terriers. With programs like Denver and North Dakota spending millions on new arenas, the coaching staff and administrators at BU knew something had to be done to stay competitive in D1 hockey.
Oh, about 8-10 years ago, I decided it was time for a new arena. When I first started coaching, I'll tell you how old I am, we had the best rink in college hockey. So we had quite a recruiting advantage to everybody else. And then in those 32 years, the tide has turned somewhat.
I think it's going to help in a lot of different ways. I think that it will definitely help recruiting, simply because there are so many state-of-the-art arenas on other campuses. You know, Walter Brown Arena was a great place to play, but, you know, maybe it's time to move on.
You know, kids are being recruited by some of the top schools in the country that have brand new facilities. And believe it or not, kids look at the facilities. What kind of locker room is there? What kind of weight room is there? What's the arena like? How many people come to watch me play?
I don't think there's any question that the biggest problem has been recruiting, and I think that the new arena has already helped us. You know, I think we got a great freshman class in the Shakers. They knew they were going to play in this building.
Yeah, obviously it takes us from having a fantastic coach in a less than perfect facility. Now we have both. So we really feel like we're in great position there to attract the best hockey player.
Named after Harry Agganis, an All-America that played both football and baseball for the Terriers and eventually went on to play for the Boston Red Sox, the Agganis Arena is a state-of-the-art multi-purpose sports and entertainment center that seats over 6,000.
Well, in terms of hockey, the facility itself is equipped with all the latest technology. There's a 4-sided center-hung digital scoreboard, a ribbon board that circles the entire bowl that's incorporated with the scoreboard as well. It's all the latest amenities.
With legendary Coach Parker and a new arena, BU hockey is poised to return to its tradition of excellence.
I think one of the things that's really cool about it is that these guys get to start a whole new tradition. They're bringing with them 30 years plus of the tradition of BU hockey, but in a whole other sense, you know, they get to write a new chapter themselves.
Well, I think the history of the program will carry right over to the other building, and by the banners, by the success of our team. The uniform's still going to say Boston University. You know, the colors are going to be the same. That doesn't change, so when people come in, it might be a new building, but the tradition of Boston University hockey will still continue.
And that new chapter remains to be written, and we'll see how that tradition carries on.
Thanks, Eric. I'm here with Mike Lynch, the athletic director of Boston University. And Mike, first of all, congratulations, an unbelievable building. And my first question to you would be, you came from the University of Miami up here with this building in mind. Take me through the start of it.
Well, it was a long process getting up here to BU. Something I've always dreamed about, though, coming to Boston. To have the opportunity to come to a place like Boston University and to build a facility like this was really a dream come true for me. It's been one heck of an accomplishment for everybody here at BU, a total team effort.
Talk a little bit about how, when this building came together and it finally got through and done, the economic impact that this will have on the Boston community.
Well, I think even more from an economic impact perspective, I think for the university, it completely changes the way people think of Boston University. I think when you walk into a building like this, it speaks of tradition, it speaks of the accomplishments of our hockey team, and I think it'll tell people that BU is heading in kind of a different direction. We want to go to a different level, and this building's going to help us do that.
When you take a look at the building, people walk into this building, they see this incredible facility. How did the facility, in terms of its design, come about?
We visited, myself as well as many other members of our administration, traveled around the country to about 50 different facilities and tried to pick out what we felt were the best pieces of each one of those, incorporated them into our plan, and we'd like to think we hit the nail right on the head. I mean, I'm sure there are going to be some small things that happen here or there that were not exactly as we had imagined, but I think that most everybody walking out of here tonight is going to be pretty impressed with what we've been able to put together.
I love the fact that the seating looks like the Boston Garden. Mike, thanks so much.
Thank you very much, too.
Eric, take it away.
BU fans up on their feet, ready for the puck to be dropped to start the second period, and look who's on the ice for BU. Terriers 8-1 when taking the lead out of the first period this year. One minute to go in the power play for Minnesota here to start the second period. Morrow in the box for Boston University. Now Harrington, stick aside by Curry. Redley gives a bump, his man goes down. Centering pass, that's knocked down. Redleys and Miller working behind the net. Quick shot from Erman at close range was off target. Now Harrington. Harrington across the blue line. Waits, holds, centering pass, Hirsch. Hirsch will back up a little bit, looking for a little space. 27 to go in the man advantage for Minnesota on fresh ice. And look at the diving play made there by Vandergulik to sweep it down.
Yeah, you used the word space, looking for space. Herschel while he had the puck, and they had a lot of space in the first period last night. However, in this first period tonight here at Agganis, BU's been much better at closing the space against Minnesota, not giving them as much room to move.
And that was really Minnesota's game last night against BU, as BU tried often to get shots on goal, but Minnesota closed in on them and they couldn't really get anything going. Power play last night for Minnesota was clicking.
And that's where you see all the space they had right there. Now that one was just fortunate. Talixon had it bounce off his stick, worked its way around. This one though was a much prettier goal. Now it went off the toe of the butt end of the stick. The goaltender Curry there, he had no choice, but there was a lot of space in the first period for the power play for Minnesota. Much better on this penalty kill by BU though in this game.
Morrow's out of the box, onto the ice is Ewing in Morrow's space. And he came down and crashed into the goal. They're waiting for them to untangle in the net. Hansen letting them play, comes all the way down for icing on Minnesota. Morrow came out of the box, went right to the bench. It's one of the characteristics of this building that's carried over, really, is, you know, it's the split benches.
All time.
It was like that at Walter Brown Arena. The box is right next to the BU bench, so you can jump right out, get out there, and someone else can get on the ice.
Well, that's home ice advantage right there, and that's Jack Parker's doing. You know, again, we talked at length about how he designed, developed, and, you know, everything down probably to the shower handles. You know, he probably decided what he wanted. But one of the first things he said he wanted was to have the two benches across the ice from each other. He wanted a distinct home ice advantage.
Turnover taken away by Ewing. He tries a centering pass, looking for MacArthur. Surdich is there, and here's Atherton. Minnesota back after it. Radoslavich keeps it in. Radoslavich saved by Briggs. Picked up by MacArthur. Taken away by Minnesota. Sent right back to BU.
You know, and some people might wonder, isn't there you have to have a set two benches on each side, like in the NHL now, Eric? Every bench has to be on the same side. College hockey doesn't have to follow those rules. You can have quirky dimensions.
BU's McConnell comes in trying to take a shot. Atherton, I think, has the puck up his sleeve. Takes it out, and we'll have a face-off. Minnesota #1 in the country for a reason, Bill.
Yeah, well, they're doing just about everything right. It truly has been a golden season for the Golden Gophers. Now the #1 team in the country, 6 weeks in a row. A big scoring margin, outstanding defense. Their power play, you know, just been on fire as of late, and they're doing things, all the little things. I mean, they're blocking shots. They're making good decisions with the puck for the most part. They're being on the strong side of the play, not the weak side, so they don't get beat in transition, and they're a very deep team.
Smager carries in the two fourth lines going head-to-head here in the second period. Monahan carried in, but McGurk was in the zone. Smaggard, Horgan, looking forward is McGough, turning and intercepted by Harrington. Carried in by Borgen. Sullivan back for it. Sullivan looking for McGough off his stick. Has it back. Tries the cross-ice pass again. Harrington reads it well. But BU takes it back the other way and gets it into the zone. Sent right back out by Minnesota.
Now, you mentioned both fourth lines out there, but how about when you have two seniors on your fourth line like Minnesota does, and they're playing like top 6 forwards. Their head coach, Don Lucia, has been very happy with the way that they've played this season. They give them experience, depth, and also special teams help. They help kill penalties an awful lot.
A lot of depth on this Minnesota team, but there is a lot of youth on this team as well.
Oh, yeah.
You mentioned the World Junior call-ups and Goligoski and Hagemo, the talented freshmen who aren't with the team here in Boston this weekend, but they've relied on the freshmen to get things done here this season at times.
Hey, they've got a great forward in Chris Chucko, a first-round pick this past year in the NHL draft. I mean, they've got some outstanding young players. And they've got great, you're talking young guys. Well, hey, Brick is just a sophomore in net, so they're built very balanced.
It's only Hirsch slowed down. Here is Chucko, the freshman, got an assist last night in the Minnesota win. Turned over. Here comes BU with numbers. Drop back, shot, save made by Briggs off the stick of Miller. Miller's a defenseman for BU, but he has spent a lot of time at forward in his 4 years at Boston University, so he knows what to do with the puck when he gets into the zone. Not afraid to rush up ice. Now McConnell will chase after it in the corner. Gets help from Roach. Weston tries to tie up a man so Spank can keep it in. Now Miller, quick shot. That's knocked down by Sertic before it gets to Briggs, and now out of the zone. Weston and Geyer. Tumble. Back out to center ice. O'Connell trying to win that battle for the puck 1-on-2, but Atherton has it. Sent all the way down. No icing here as backboard is Kevin Schaefer. Turnover. Point blank. Save made by Curry. Got the glove on it. Puck still in play. Atherton bounces it. Curry gloves this one. A big save by sophomore John Curry to keep a 0 up on the board for Minnesota. BU on top 1-0 in the second period. Welcome back to Agganis Arena. Beautiful spot here. Let's check back in with Dave Starman.
Okay, Eric, there was a gentleman named William Crowley. He was a Harvard grad, but he owned a bar called The Dugout just outside of Fenway Park. He hired a lot of BU hockey players to work at the bar, whether it be the door or bartender, whatever. He was a big supporter of the program, and the William F. Crowley press box is in his honor. It's at broadcast level, directly above the BU bench, a beautiful facility where Ed Carpenter can run the show. Eric?
And we are happy to report that Ed Carpenter, who's been here longer than time itself.
There he is. Wait, come on, Ed. Come on, right there. They're in the yellow shirt. In the yellow shirt and the tie right there, the Director of Communications.
He's the sports information director here at Boston University and handles the news that we get here when we come to BU, and his wife brings the coffee cake, and it made its way over from Baltimore.
I was very worried that wasn't going to make its way over. A homemade coffee cake is the choice of all broadcasters as an icing is going to be called against Boston University. I mean, how appropriate is the press box named after a guy that had a bar? I mean, bar and coffee cake for broadcasters? You wonder why we're all overweight. And it's not the camera putting on 10 extra pounds.
Boston University here on opening night at Agganis Arena with freshman Peter MacArthur on the ice now. Minnesota looking for the equalizer. John Curry with a big save just a moment ago. Ben Gordon. Bounces it back. Alexson carries. Centering pass off the stick of Ewing. Out through center ice. Kaufman dumped in, hops over the stick of Curry. Now Morrow and Curry, two natives of Minnesota, playing here against the U. Ewing carries, MacArthur, shot, save Briggs. Rebound ends up in the far corner. Stevens, Alexson got the assist last night or an assist on the first goal scored by Minnesota. Put that assist in quotation marks after he fanned, but resulted in a goal for the Gophers. The stick of Gino Geyer. Now Minnesota chance to set up again. There's a shot. Curry stands up tall to make the save.
John Curry in control, making a save right there. Earlier, it was Boston University's Peter MacArthur, who was one of the best players already in the country, in my opinion, in the slot area. Look, he's going to grab the puck and he's going to recognize the fact that the defenseman, number 6, Chud Stevens, is going to try and stop him, stand him up right there. And he makes sure to get the shot on net. It seems like such a minor play right there by Peter MacArthur, but he makes sure to get the puck through. It doesn't get turned over in transition in that high traffic area. Gets it going north instead of south, gives his team a chance.
Harrington waits, gets around the Liberty, takes it all the way in deep. The Liberty gives Harrington a bump for his efforts. Now Miller. Back around, settled there by Harrington. Back behind the net. Now to Fleming. Fleming carries, drops it off. Harrington in deep. Curry sticks it aside. Stevens works it back. Now Miller for Boston University tries to take it away. Zancanaro's out there. Miller has it. Has help from Weston up along the boards, but Minnesota snuffs that out. Good play here from the Gophers to keep the pressure on. They still have it. Harrington at the point. Fleming trying to turn and shoot. Stevens will come in. Redleys dives after that to prevent that shot, and now hacks it out of the zone.
Well, desperation defense by the BU Terriers.
Vandergulik winding and firing, deflected by Peltier. It'll be a face-off in the Minnesota zone. On this historic night, we take you to this week in college hockey, back to January of 1922. Minnesota lost their first game in school history, 2-1. And Don Lucia was not present for that game. I'm sure he
probably would have won it if he was present. That's how many wins he's had. That's how much he's won in 700 games.
Yeah, milestone last night, 150th win at Minnesota in his 6 years. That's pretty impressive total in such a short period of time.
And he's an impressive coach, Eric. I mean, he has this confidence about him, a good swagger to him. You know, he knows what he wants out of his team, and he seems to be able to get it out of them. You know, he recruits great, got some outstanding prospects, but he's very confident, and I like that in a coach.
Spang works it around. McConnell comes off the board, takes a shot, comes up to the near side. Spang raced after it, couldn't get it. Has to chase it all the way down the ice.
Spang was calling for that puck too. Left wing side was open for the pass there.
Benelli had it just for the moment though. Roach pokes it out of the zone. Straight up in the air, straight back down. McConnell, the captain for Boston University, takes a bump after making the pass. Spang up through center ice. No penalties yet called on Minnesota. Roach a little bit of space, looking for more, takes a shot, save made by Briggs. McConnell comes flying in to disrupt that play from Minnesota, but the Gophers able to carry out with 11:22 to go. Second period, Boston University on top, 1-0. Here's a shot and a score. Minnesota has tied it up. Freshman Chris Chucko makes it 1-1.
Make it 4 games in a row now that Chris Chucko has picked up at least 1 point. This time it's not an assist. As the last 3 games have been, it's a goal. He had exited the zone well before that passer. He'd stretched the zone out there, and the puck's going to just rebound, kind of carry him over to him. He gets into that mid-slot area, and you notice how he just kind of shimmied all the way through the slot. Watch it. Hold. Now the BU defense is going to back up. Somebody has got to step up there. Morrow goes with his man. Patolny through that high crease area there. Nobody goes at the man with the puck, and that's Chucko, the first-round pick of the Calgary Flames. Buries it. We're tied at 1.
24th pick overall in the 2004 entry draft. The top scoring freshman now with 5 goals on the season, tying the game up at 1. Game at 8:44 of the second period. The assist to Ryan Patolny. And now Minnesota back to doing what they do well, but Howe paid the price for blocking that shot. He's limping off the ice right now.
Both teams doing a nice job in this game blocking shots so far.
Minnesota did it non-stop last night. BU has matched them here tonight. Now the home run pass to Hirsch. Hirsch looking for help. Red Lees has it for Boston University. Gordon comes flying in. Gordon will have some fresh legs here tonight. Didn't play last night. He's been flying around a little bit, trying to get back into the mix.
They had a game disqualification penalty at the end of the Dodge Classic in Minnesota. Got into a fight at the end of the game for the championship against Northern.
Talixon takes a bump. Miller looking for the puck. Ends up on the Liberty stick, but just for a second, as Stevens has it now for Minnesota. Here's Gordon. Gordon waits to pass through. That was deflected, intended for Talixon. Keeps it going. Less than 10 minutes to go now here in the second period. Past the midpoint of the first ever game at Agganis Arena here in Boston. The Liberty comes off the boards with Miller. Vandergulik and Zancanaro out there as well. Miller with a lazy pass to Zancanaro as he went off on a change. Zancanaro nowhere near the puck and dumped it in so he can finish the shift and head off the ice. Icing the call. 9:24 to go. Second period. Freshman Chris Chucko getting the goal to tie things at 1.
Back here at BU, I'm here with three-time All-American, former National Hockey Leaguer Rick Mahar, and you played in some of the great old buildings in the National Hockey League, and to take a look at this building, it's a world apart.
Absolutely. This is absolutely a gorgeous building, and you're right, I played in all the old buildings, Chicago Stadium, Maple Leaf Gardens, you know, and the old arena in St. Louis, and boy, I tell you, I wish I started my career in a building like this.
How far have the college buildings come? I mean, there are just so many great ones, and this and the next in line.
Boy, I tell you, to recruit and to get the best players, you have to have buildings like this anymore. North Dakota is the only building that I think might be better than this building, but this is by far the second best building in the league.
Thanks, Rick.
Okay.
Eric, take it away.
One of the biggest names in BU history, Mahar, Rick, Terry, Tony. You throw those names in there and thrown in a hat with Ruzioni, Silk Craig in the 70s.
And for the astute fans, they probably recognize two other guys in that picture as well at the beginning. You had Sean McEachran, Scott Young. I mean, that just goes to show, and that's one of the things about Agganis Arena. They've got a beautiful BU alumni hockey players suite just off to our right, and all the old players they want that are local, they want them to come back, and they're welcome at any time. That just helps show the history. I mean, you got guys like Mahar, McEachran, Young, Drury, they're all here. Pretty heavy stuff.
Fleming carries in, that goes wide. Minnesota buzzing around. Battle on the end boards. MacArthur goes in to hack it out, and there's a whistle. Well, you talked about this night being about the current players. What about the future players? How will this help recruiting at BU? Here's Jack Parker.
Biggest problem has been recruiting, and I think that the new arena has already helped us. You know, I think we got a great freshman class in the Shakers. They knew they were going to play in this building. We've got a good class committed for next year because they know they're going to be playing in this building.
One of those top freshmen taking the draw for BU with Peter MacArthur. You know, for this freshman class, maybe even the sophomores as well, you know, they were sold on a blueprint, really.
This was maybe the biggest carrot they've ever had dangled in front of them. And, you know, to have it come to fruition on schedule, on time. I'm sure Jack Parker probably talked about it with some guys who maybe never saw it. I mean, he told me yesterday when I asked him, did you ever think this day would come? And he said, not really. 7, 8 years ago, I thought we started talking about it, and it just never rolled around to happening, but now it's right in front of us. I mean, it's an amazing recruiting tool to have. I mean, this is just beautiful.
Stick save made by Curry. And a penalty coming up on freshman Peter MacArthur.
Peter MacArthur being aggressive in his own end, playing the center position. He's got to help out down low. Referee Scott Hansen's going to call a boarding penalty. Jack Parker doesn't agree with the call. Here's a good look at the penalty. It's almost like the feet go out from underneath Ryan Patolny. Peter MacArthur kind of, he protested, but he did in a way as if to say, you know, no way, you missed out. His feet came out from underneath him. I gave him a little nudge, but that's what led to it. Hansen saw it differently. He was on the other side of the ice, calls a penalty. BU goes shorthanded.
Minnesota on the power play for the second time tonight.
Watch how BU, they're going to sag back probably more so they don't expose down low.
Surdich, Harrington, Hirsch, Herman setting up in front. All the way through Patolny's stick. Minnesota still has it. BU fans want a penalty call. Set up on the doorstep. Herman hacking at it. Cleared away, but not out. Stopped by Harrington, and the net's not knocked loose, stopping play. Well, it used to be Section 8. Now it's going to be Section 118. That's going to let the official have it a little bit.
As long as it has an 8 in it, that's all that matters. You said earlier about how on fire Minnesota has been on the power play. Last 4 games, 39%. Once again, at least 2 power play goals per game in that time. And keep an eye on BU. They're going to actually almost do a 1-3. They're going to sneak the weak side guy down low, Eric, to protect against that top of the crease pass.
Sarich knocked away Radoslavich. lurking for a shorthanded attempt. Minnesota backtracking. McConnell comes to help out, and look how Minnesota counterattacks with Patolny. Lost his footing through center ice. That was dangerous for Minnesota as it was developing. That's going to come out of the zone. They'll have to reset.
You talk about countering, but Minnesota's never afraid, whether it's on the power play or even strength, to stretch that neutral zone to get their speed going.
Hirsch. Knocked down before it got all the way through. Clearing attempt went right to Sertic. Timer. Pad save made by Curry. Centering pass deflected to the near boards. Hirsch battles Zancanaro. Used his body to shield him away. Now Patolny. Harrington wanted the one-timer. Couldn't get it teed up. Sertic back to Harrington. 22 to go on the power play for Minnesota in a 1-1 game. Sertic deflected to the near corner. Harrington waits, takes a look, takes a second look in the third. Works it over to Sertic. Sertic knocked away by Schaefer. Schaefer. Herman goes down. Precious time ticking off this power play. Final 2 seconds. Out of the box comes MacArthur, and there's the whistle stopping play. 6:04 to go. Second period. Minnesota has tied it at 1 here in the second.
Thank God it's
opening night here at Agganis Arena. It hasn't always been good news. Here are some of the three most recent arenas that open up, and Minnesota opened up North Dakota's beautiful Ingolstadt Arena. Don Lucia's team picked up a victory there on opening night for North Dakota.
Yeah, and if Minnesota wins here, they might not be invited to go anybody's new building to help open it again. But again, it's so much easier for the visiting team usually just to focus on playing hockey. You don't get caught up in all of the stuff.
Oh, through a screen, Curry had to reach out. Guard his goal. Howe is back there after taking a shot off the leg earlier. LaLiberty. John LaLiberty. Sullivan waits back at the point. Vanelli working LaLiberty in the corner. 5:40 to go here in the second period. Centering pass from MacArthur. Nobody home. 1-1 Minnesota, Boston University. Two of the most storied programs in college hockey history. Number 1, number 3 all time. Minnesota and BU when it comes to wins. LaLiberty and a whistle, offside call.
Oh, LaLiberty with the really nice play to bank the puck off the wall, passed it to himself, basically avoided the check at his own blue line. Couldn't just corral the puck enough, otherwise it was a potential 4-on-2 for Boston University. LaLiberty has been on fire as of late, as have the rest of his line mates. I mean, the Zancanaro line's been outstanding. Those last 6 games, Liberty has 8 points. And what they've done, again, the little things, but they really complement each other well. Zancanaro, the kind of guy, shifty guy, gets around there. LaLiberty, the power forward. Vander Gulik, good hands, good vision, good size as well, going to the front of the net. That's been the go-to line for Jack Parker's squad the last few games.
LaLiberty, the junior out of Saco, Maine, 7-game point streak, has bumped him up to a tie for the team lead in scoring with Peter MacArthur. As they fix the net, slight delay here. Minnesota dominating the face-off category, and they win another one, make it 25 on the night for the Golden Gophers. And they're going to have another one here as icing is called with 5:17 to go here in the second period. You had mentioned many of the former Terrier players gathering here tonight. Well, the former players are in a suite here, and it's not just any suite, it's the Mark Bavis suite. It's only open to former BU players. And you can see it's standing room only in there tonight. But of course, Mark Bavis, the former BU Terrier who lost his life on September 11th, honored here at Boston University. His brother Mike, assistant coach here at BU. The Terriers buzzing, a couple of close chances there, but no goal as Curry now sticks it aside to McGough in the near corner. Now a quick shot. I don't know if Curry got a piece of that one. I think they're turning the find to see if it went off a stick. A couple of players pushing and shoving. Some good opportunities here for BU after Minnesota had been carrying Clay in this period.
Well, once again, both four lines are going to be out against each other. Boston University is going to get the good chances. McGough's going to move the puck to front, and jamming away at it is the youngster McGurk, and it's going to go off the post. This time it's going to be Monahan who's going to tip that one right there off the wall. That puck's about 6-8 inches off the ice. Monahan lifting up the arm, thought that one was going in both times off that post, off the blocker side of Kellen Briggs.
Best pressure BU's had in a while here, though. Weston in after it. McConnell calling for it. Weston carries it in deep, now brings it to the near boards. Freshman Ryan Weston out of Henniker, New Hampshire. Drops it off, goes to the net, but it's taken away there by Danny Ehrman. Not out of the zone yet. Roach turns, Briggs sends it to the corner. Stevens, first one there. McConnell against Chucko along the boards. Weston tried to rim it around, and a penalty coming up. And the first call of the night against Minnesota draws a sarcastic cheer from the BU crowd, but the Terriers will go on the power play.
Appropriately, Chucko chucks his man down right there as it made it easy for the official Hansen. Cross check. Boston University right wing side. Chucko's just going to get behind his man, and you know, right there you're going to see him skate up right there, and he just hits him right in the lower part up back, and that's what's going to lead to Scott Hansen calling the first power play for Boston University.
BU was 1 for 6 on the man advantage last night. They're now 23rd nationally with 23 power play goals on the season. Minnesota carries it out with ease. Geyer backtracks, maybe got a little too greedy, but now gets some help. And now the Gophers will send it all the way down the ice.
And last night, what Minnesota did very well on their penalty kill is they took away a lot of space, not only in their own end, but in the neutral zone, forced BU to make some bad decisions with the puck.
They converge on Miller, grabbing it, score! If this new building is about the next generation of BU players, the top scorer, freshman Peter MacArthur, has put BU on top with a power play goal. It's 2-1.
We've talked about how good he is in the slot area, through the neutral zone. This time, BU's going to be able to skate the puck in. It's Miller, and a fortuitous bounce back to his own D-man, who then just kind of chips it up to MacArthur, and you see MacArthur doesn't waste any time. A little bit of a screen in front, perhaps, by the defenseman Vanelli for Minnesota. Another goal, the second goal of the game for BU, the second goal to go through the 5-hole, and the goaltender, Kellen Briggs.
BU had not generated many shots on goal, had a couple of good chances just a moment before. MacArthur converts with his 10th goal of the season to put the Terriers on top 2-1. Now Vandergulik sends it out cross ice. Schaefer steps in, winds and fires. Briggs with a save. Rebound came right out in front. Now Talix had lost his balance as he wanted to race for the puck. Harrington. The Liberty couldn't settle it. Here comes Kaufman. Kaufman moves to the middle all the way through. He falls down. Harrington, who's been all around the puck, checking it's Gordon this time. As Minnesota drops back, Roche has it knocked away. Zancanaro, Weston will wind it around where Briggs will settle it. Stevens tries to work it out. Weston there to stop him. Coming away is Roach. Roach drops it. McConnell takes a shot. That goes wide of the glove of Briggs. McConnell delivers a check. Smaggern has it on the right wing. Drops it back. A shot. That's slowed down as BU is doing what Minnesota did last night, affecting shots before they get to the goal.
With good back pressure. That time it was the freshman Weston.
Now Atherton through a screen off the skate of Sean Sullivan. Final 2 minutes, second period. Boston University on top of Minnesota, 2-1. Morrow and Fleming battle on the end boards. Curry watches from his net. Now Sullivan with a chance to come away. Gives it to Roach. Cross ice, Weston. Weston waits. Drops it back. Here's MacArthur. Just scored to put BU on top. Miller back for the Terriers. Redley, Radoslovic. No icing here. Puck rolls into the zone. MacArthur there after it. Herman trying to carry it out. Waiting for Atherton's help. Has it. Patolny cross ice looking for Erman. Erman's on side. Hits the brakes, turns back. Nothing there. Out of Radoslovic's reach. Final minute, second period. 2-1 BU. And back through center ice to Vanelli. Ewing in there to try to take it away. High shot, came right back down, and Curry grabs it. Stopping play with 45 seconds to go here in the second period. During our second intermission, it will be a breakaway at the Fieldhouse in New York. We'll have an Orange Bowl update. And Dave Starman will talk with Minnesota forward Ryan Patolny, who assisted on the Minnesota goal here tonight with this week's Dasani sideline reports. We'll have the highlights and stats from the second period. 2 goals so far here in period number 2, 1 for each squad.
Still say Patolny should have gotten an assist last night on that second power play goal for Minnesota. Great redirection off the heel of his stick. But what I say and what I want doesn't always count.
Yeah, you've got your hands full with sitting next to me for 2.5 hours. You can't multitask.
There's only so much that you can ask one person to do. Well, Minnesota getting the goal. It's just 2-1, right? Or BU, I mean, going up 2-1. You know, they've had a good period here. Minnesota, not a bad period though either. You know, they've had 4 comeback wins this season, down just by 1 goal, Eric. Not I don't want to say that big of a deal, but when you have a potent offense like Minnesota and this leadership on this team as well, there doesn't seem to be any padding. What I think they need to do is get back to skating like they did in the first 2 periods last night. They haven't been able to get those long cross-ice passes like they were able to in last night's game.
Well, Liberty carries in, goes down, gets back up. Vandergulik there to help out. Zancanero there as well. Penalty coming up on Minnesota. It's going to be a power play. Delayed call as Liberty still tangled up. And a little extra shoving. Now you have to watch it here if Liberty gets the match. And that does it for the power play. We'll see what Hansen calls. Still a little bit more pushing and shoving as Vandergulik and Patolny get tangled up.
Harrington without his helmet. Going to be the initial penalty call, that's for sure. But he might have drawn in Liberty to take the matching coincidental minor. Harrington, the son of former Olympian John Harrington, who had a chance to speak with this morning. The Harringtons are staying with Micah Ruzioni, who lives in Winthrop, Mass. So BU, Minnesota, they can get along. Not on the ice, though. Off the ice, they're breaking bread. On the ice, they're breaking bones. That's what they're doing.
How many people are staying with the Ruzioni? He's got a few CSTV people shacking up there, too, doesn't he?
Look.
Harrington for Minnesota receives 2 minutes for holding, 2 minutes for roughing. 16 receives 2 minutes for roughing.
Oh, you're getting a...
Vandergulik receives 2 minutes for roughing.
Number 7.
Live listen.
Vandergulik, yeah, you know what number he is. He's only been here for 20 years. And the other guy receives 2 minutes for roughing as well.
Oh, that's priceless. When the official knows you by name, that means you've gotten a lot of penalties. And you've only been in here for 20 years.
Scott Hansen, a Hockey East referee, has called quite a few BU games in his time, and let's see what happens when they sort it all out. It's going to be 2 up on the board for Patolny. Let's see if they add anything more, or if it's going to be a power play for BU.
I think it sounded like an extra 2 is going to be up there for Minnesota, or I should say against Minnesota. That's the way it seemed to be playing out. A little bit of a scrum ensued after Harrington's helmet came off. Players got mixed up. Here we go. Look at it. There's the initial penalty, all right? Liberty's down, gets the helmet off of Harrington. Harrington not happy whatsoever.
And Harrington's got the leg lock trying to drag Liberty into a penalty.
All right, well, then there should be coincidentals right there. But then after that, behind the pile right there, after that is where Patolny got into it. Now Gordon's going to go over and just serve the 2-minute minor. So Hansen took care of it. And, you know, to his credit, via the microphone down there, helped us simplified as well, sorted out.
There's the horn to end the second period with BU up 2-1 thanks to Peter MacArthur. They've been very good this year when leading after 2 periods. They have not lost this year, and the third period has been their best period this year when you look at the goals they put on the board and what they've allowed.
Now they've scored 22, only given up 9. They've got to feel pretty good about themselves. Minnesota can't feel bad about themselves either. 1-goal game on the road, crazy, hectic night. They got 20 minutes to go.
It'll be a challenge for Minnesota in the third period. We'll see if the #1 team in the country is up to it. BU 2-1 after 2. Now we send you to New York for a breakaway at the Fieldhouse.
Thanks, Eric. I'm here with Hobie Baker candidate Ryan Patolny. A good first period. You're playing in a brand new building here at BU. You guys got a phenomenal building. Can you kind of compare the two?
Definitely. It's a great atmosphere here. We didn't really know what to expect. We never played. I haven't at least played out here before, and it's great. The fans are really into it. Beautiful building, and they did a really good job with this.
You get an emotional crowd like this, down by a goal going to the third period. From your side of things, what does Minnesota need to do this period?
I think we need to get back to playing goal for hockey a little bit. We were just standing around. We weren't moving our feet. We weren't getting in on a forecheck, and that's one thing that we're going to work on this period. And they're playing us well. It's a great game so far. It's just going to come to who wants it more in the third.
Great rivalry between BU and Minnesota. They're not conference teams, but the history between these two schools is tremendous.
Definitely. We're both powerhouses. I mean, really out in East, it's BU, and in the West, it's Minnesota with a couple of the top teams. So it's nice to be able to get a series in with them.
Thanks for coming by.
Thank you very much.
Eric, let's take it back upstairs to you.
Dave, thank you very much. And Ryan, thank you. 19 goals on the season for Patolny. I don't think she's going to score that. She's a little short. We'll be back with the highlights next. We are back here in Boston alongside the Charles River, a little different spot than Walter Brown Arena on Babcock Street. I mean, we're still right next to the Mass Pike, Storrow Drive, commuter rail,
your front
Charles River, but we're right on Commonwealth right now.
I mean, the tee is there. You kind of saw the tee in the background there streaking across. But now you can literally take the tee, get out, and walk across the street, and you're here. Great way to get to a game.
Before we drop the puck for the third period, we rejoin Dave Starman.
Thanks, Eric. You know, the original plan for this building was 10,000 seats. Jack Parker said, you know what, the building that big might not sell out. We should make it smaller. We don't want to ruin the din of a packed Walter Brown Arena. They've got a packed Agganis tonight, and this place is rocking. Eric, back upstairs to you.
I think that's going to be the challenge, Dave. You know, 3806 was Walter Brown Arena. And are they going to be able to keep that energy and keep the noise and that level here in this building night after night?
And that's what, you know, Jack Parker admitted. That's going to be the challenge, to get teams in here, or people in here, no matter whom we're playing against. But BU's got such great tradition that you hope that it'll build off that. And this is going to be an exciting place to be, you know, because of the fact that BU's got an exciting young team. So exciting that they could be a team to reckon with for years to come. 9-0-0 when leading after 2 periods. And right now they have that 2-1 lead over Minnesota. So if you believe in the numbers, BU has good things ahead.
They've outscored opponents in the third period this year, 22-9. And they're on the power play to start period number 3. Trying to get it organized coming out of their zone. Smaggart is there to slow things down. Schaefer all the way through center ice. With speed comes MacArthur. Take it all the way around. Back to the point to Schaefer. Schaefer works it over. Redlease. Schaefer. They play catch. Low Liberty. Pick up Roach. Back to Redlease. Weston had to reach for that. McConnell setting up in front. Now back all the way around and down the ice. Here comes BU with Spang. 51 to go in the power play. Well, they tried to dump it in, but Minnesota read that well, grabbed it, sent it right back. Spang has it back. Ewing's up on right wing. Now moves to the center of the ice. Spang still carrying. Flip towards the corner. MacArthur will give chase with Radoslavich. MacArthur, Radoslavich, Ewing there. Comes back to the point. Spang, Brian Miller. Miller to Spang. Missed the pass. 22 on the power play for BU, leading 2-1. MacArthur looking. Back to Miller. MacArthur gets it back. Miller takes a quick shot, redirected, and save made by Briggs. Ewing back to Spang. Now Miller. Final 10 seconds of the power play here for BU. MacArthur works it around to Ewing. And it's out of the zone. Patolny jumps out of the penalty box, and Minnesota has killed off the BU power play.
Only one real good chance against, and Kellen Briggs was right up there to stop that redirection. Minnesota, pretty good penalty killing team as well. Nice job in that last one.
Sullivan, McConnell, and on goal, Briggs sticks to the side off the glass. I'd like to welcome all of our viewers in Canada who are watching tonight's game on the NHL Network. Weston along the boards. Chucko chips it out. Patolny. Herman drops it back. Patolny. Patolny, save made by Curry. Weston trying to dig it off the boards. Patolny pulls it away. Atherton. Now Patolny, first one after it. Drops it for Atherton. Roach pokes at him. Herman turns, fires. Stopped by McConnell. Now Chucko. Chucko goes down. Atherton's on top of the puck. Now Patolny can't get it on the fresh ice. And it's picked up there by Sullivan. Weston can't grab it. Comes out of the zone. No, kept right on the blue line by Sertic. Now it's out of the zone. Put forward by Sullivan, who dives after it to make sure it gets down the ice.
That shift by BU defensively really reminded me of last night when they were on the offense and they couldn't get the puck to the middle against Minnesota. Minnesota controlled the puck, but they couldn't break through that danger zone, the area that I like to call it, the middle to lower slot area there. BU fronted very well, blocked a lot of shots, sticks in lane.
Hit there by Brian McGurk. And the whistle stops play. In goal for Minnesota tonight, Kellen Briggs, 23 saves last night. Hasn't faced many shots here in this game, but he stopped all but one.
Yeah, here was a good save on that last power play. Tip in front of the net right there by Radoslavich. He got the pads down. Both goals have gone in between 5-0, but not many goals go in against Kellen Briggs. Check this out. 34-0, not even a tie, when allowing 2 goals or fewer. Now he's at his maximum allowed right now. But even though BU's got the lead, if Minnesota can find a way to tie this one up here, don't be surprised if they pull it out. Briggs doesn't like to lose when he gives up 2 or fewer.
Briggs has been perfect in non-league games this year as well. 7-0. It's a non-league tilt before both teams jump feet first right back into their conference wars. Minnesota in the WCHA is set to host Colorado College Saturday and Sunday as they buzz along the net with Fleming. Centering pass, jumps up in the air. Boston University as at Northeastern at Matthews Arena coming up on Friday night. A couple of bumps along the boards. Schaefer, Spang, fighting against Howe to get after that puck. 2-1 Boston University here in the third period. Vandergulik pops it up in the air, gets it back, takes a shot off the outside of the goal. Don't know if it caught more post than net, but Vandergulik almost got that lucky bounce. Schaefer around Liberty, got a piece of it, and it comes all the way down the ice for icing. 14:59 to go. Third period. Brad Zancanaro and the Terriers trying to hold on. It's 2-1.
Back at Agganis Arena here with Mike Eruzione and son, 2 generations here. We are in a special box. Mike, why don't you tell us about it?
Well, this is pretty special. This is the Mark Bavis Memorial Box, named after Mark, who was killed in the World Trade Center. And he was a former player here. His brother's associate coach here. And it's named after Mark, but it's also in memory of any former player who's passed on before their time. And it's a players-only box. We have a lot of alumni here tonight to come and enjoy the game. And we raised $1 million to own this box forever. And a lot of our NHL players and former players contributed to make this happen.
One of those things that kind of separates BU from the pack in terms of its tradition.
We'd like to think that. You know, we have a great tradition of hockey players, but we're a great tradition of hockey players with great heart. And I think this is a tribute to them and what they've meant to our university.
Thanks, Mike.
Okay, David, thanks.
Eric Fried, over to you.
Thank you, gentlemen. A lot of players were going on to the NHL and went on to bigger things. And a lot of players contributed to raise the money for that box, but also Chris Drury, Keith Kachuk ponied up for the weight room. Chris Drury was down in the weight room today working out with Mike Boyle.
Yes, he was.
Stay in shape.
Mike Boyle, the, well, nationally renowned, if not world-renowned strength and conditioning coach for the BU Terriers and BU Athletics. I mean, so many NHL players come back to work with Mike Boyle, and that weight room that they have is as big as many people's houses. I mean, it's got everything you could imagine in that weight room. It's very comprehensive.
Uh-oh.
Do we have our first? We've heard of wardrobe malfunctions. This could be glass malfunction.
Oh, we have our first clip. This is something may have carried over from Walter Brown Arena.
Well, they brought everything over, including benches on the opposite sides of the ice. Why not bring over some problems? You see the top of the glass right in the middle there. That's where they're missing a piece to keep the seamless glass together. This is, and again, you notice the seamless glass here? No posts in the middle there. Picture perfect clear. All you need is a little Windex after every game, and you're going to not miss a single thing on the ice.
So as they get set to tweak the glass, we'll revisit today's trivia question. Who are the only two former BU Terriers to win the Stanley Cup twice? Double hoisting. Scott Young, who's had a long, tremendous NHL career, and Jay Pandolfo as well. Class of '96. Did it with the New Jersey Devils. Now, did I see correctly today? I didn't think to ask Jack this. Did he donate the money for the referees room here? Did you see that? I thought it was a joke somebody was playing on me, but I think it's true. Now, you know Jack and his conversations with referees
I'm
haven't
hearing it's
always
true.
been.
I'm hearing it's true. That's an olive branch right there. That's a Jack Parker special right there.
That's got to be bogged with his camera.
You know it, it absolutely. It has stuff in there that, well, he says it's technologically advanced. He was also referring to every nook and cranny like the officials room.
And we were wondering,
I wonder if it has some shock treatment if it has bad calls.
The Parker Landing is back here as well, as he's got a spot here that he can get very close to the officials. He's trying to get the crew here to fix it. I think someone's going around from the outside to fix it at the top. But he's been hands-on here,
I mean,
all week trying to get this place
week,
just to be perfect.
The whole year. The whole year he's been hands-on with everything. I think he's spent as much time here at this arena as he has at home. I think he has been here so much. He's had his hand, his eye, his ear in every conversation. He's got a magnificent office.
Well, you know, he's got the blueprint. So let's check in once again with Dave Starman here at Agganis Arena.
Thanks, Eric. You talk about that long and successful career that Scott Young had, a couple of Stanley Cup championships. His NHL career started way back with the Hartford Whalers, to show you how far that goes back. Worked his way through the league, a couple of different teams. The one thing that Scott Young did, and he talked about it a little bit with me yesterday, was being part of that World Cup team in 1996, which won the World Cup in that thrilling 3-game series over Canada. He was a big part of that, contributing both to USA Hockey, and now he always focuses his time on BU as an active face and an active voice here in the BU program. Eric?
Thank you very much, Dave. Well, you see they've got the new ladder out here at Agganis Arena.
I want to hit the rewind button, go back a few minutes, something that Dave Starman touched on about the size of this arena. And a 10,000-seat arena initially, that was the plan. Now it's 6,300 for hockey. But what it says to me, and I think it was a great decision by Jack Parker not to make it 10,000. They came to that compromise. But how about, you know, the Ralph in North Dakota? I mean, you're talking 11,000 people. So we get an exterior look right here, and then an inside look coming up of Agganis as well. But you're talking size of arenas. Ralph Engelstad Arena, over 11,000 with standing room only. Mariucci, this Minnesota team, has a gorgeous arena as well. There's that weight room I was talking about. I'm telling you, I'd love to go work out in there every day. But that's 10,000 people. And what that says to me is the health of the state of college hockey. And it is a big business, but it's a healthy business, and it has grown infinitely the last 10 years in the NCAA.
The repair has been made, so the pit crew is ready to go here at Agganis Arena on opening night. But one thing, too, you have to think about when you talk about the size of this arena. You know, here we are in Boston. there's a lot of things competing for attention here in Boston. You put a 10,000 seat arena, you're gonna have a lot of empty seats in that arena. You got the Celtics, usually you got the Bruins just down the road at the Fleet Center. Boston College is nearby. There's a lot of competition for the eyes of the fan.
And they're also going to be, because it's going to be mid-sized for concerts and other non-athletic events, they're going to get those mid-sized events coming into the city as well here that can't go, say, fill 17 or 18,000 seat Fleet Center.
This is comparable to the Whittemore Center up at UNH, which opened in 1995. Ironically enough, against BU, an overtime game. That seats 6,500. Alfond Arena seats a little under 6,000. And that's pretty consistent with the bigger arenas. Connie Forum is pushing 8,000 in size. But you get the point. Songus Arena for UMass Lowell. But yeah, and some of the CCHA arenas as well. Puck bouncing around. Briggs reaches back for Minnesota. Back through center ice. Here's Miller. Still a lot of time to go here in the third period. 13:36 to go in the third. 2-1 BU.
Once again, MacArthur around the puck in that slot area. It's a magnet to his stick there, and he has that quick release. Heads up.
Oh, look out, John Curry making his quickest move of the night to get away from falling pipe. The goal was tumbling over.
Well, John Curry was wearing a Minnesota Twins hat this morning after the BU morning skate, and I said to him, boy, that's gutsy wearing that. Now, granted, he's a native of Minnesota. He says, nah, I can handle it. He can also handle dodging the net. Get out of the way. He has the scissors too. He tumbles around. That's going back to kindergarten right there. Stop, drop, and roll. You know what that is right there?
That's just good awareness. The goal is falling on top of it.
That is. I asked him about playing against Minnesota. He says, well, I only know really one guy very well, and that's Tyler Hirsch. And I said, was he as good back then growing up? You know, played with him for years. He said, yeah, boy, he had unbelievable hands as a kid too. I like the confidence of this kid, John Curry.
There comes Minnesota. Howe has it not quite back out. Well, Curry's now up over 800 minutes played this season. Here we are the first week of January. Remember, we talked about it last night. Played 5 minutes and 10 seconds last year. This walk-on, who was third on the depth chart starting the season. Well, time on the ice has built his confidence up as he's gone along as well.
Time on the ice this year, and also all of his practice time last year, working, changing his style just a bit, getting that confidence that you need to develop as a goalie.
Briggs takes a tumble, and that's going to be a penalty coming up on Boston University. Minnesota will have an opportunity here to go on the power play.
You can't hit the goalie. Plain and simple, you can't hit the goalie. It's going to be the freshman Ryan Weston, who's going to go off. It's going to be a roughing call. Jack Parker's squad going to go shorthanded again. Puck's going to be dumped in. Weston's going to get by his man Howe, but then he's going to just bump into the goalie enough from behind. It's a penalty. That's where you got to pull up. I mean, you're told as a player now you can't bump the goalie at all. Briggs gets hit, gets dumped. Doesn't matter that he has it on his stick. That's a good call.
So Minnesota on the power play for the third time tonight. And Potolny wins the draw. Minnesota's been outstanding on faceoffs here tonight. Hirsch. Big bump there from Sullivan. Morrow tries to work it out of the zone. McConnell tries to help it out. Cannot. Back behind the net. Sullivan turns, fires. That goes right to Potolny, who shot it wide. Now Surdich back to the point. Harrington. Hirsch. Surdich knocked down by Radoslavich. Potolny after it in the corner. Harrington. Surdich. Back to Harrington. 2-1 BU. Minnesota on the power play here in the third. Knocked down by McConnell. Tried to sweep it out of the zone. Could not. Sullivan trying to reach for the puck. He can't. Now he does clear it out. Harrington had it at the blue line just for a moment, but it came out of the zone.
Doing a great job again, BU killing penalties. The adjustment they've made, having guys back and then rotating up, daring the Minnesota point men to shoot the puck, and they blocked many.
Zancanaro tried to duck his way into the zone, but Harrington picked him clean, and Minnesota will now go back to work. Down to 50 seconds to go on the power play. Chucko drops it back to Surdich. Surdich comes in deep, centering pass. Curry was moving one way. The shot from Potolny went to the right post, and Curry reached out to get it.
Now this is the type of play that Minnesota wants to accomplish. They do it beautifully. They get the cross-ice pass in the neutral zone, thereby gaining speed, coming down the left wing lane. Here's a nice little pull-up move by Chuckle. Going to drop it for Serdic. The forward who can play D and the D who can play forward is going to get the puck to the mid-slot area, cutting through the seam. Patolny just trying to redirect it there, and as you said, leaning to his right is the goaltender Curry, but he has the paddle of his stick down, covering the low part of the net there, not exposing that, makes the nice paddle save.
Red Lees comes out, sends it off the boards all the way down with 30 to go in the power play for Minnesota. MacArthur has the go-ahead goal for Boston University on the ice and takes it away.
It's just goal scorer's hands for those forwards for Minnesota. Patolny down low, using the heel of his stick so beautifully, so deftly.
Gino Geyer carries in, sends it right through the front. Curry lets it go to the corner, picked up there by Minnesota with 7 to go in the power play. Now point blank shot save made on the bid from Talixon. Quickly back out in front. Curry covers up. Jumping out of the box is Weston. BU has killed off the power play. They're hanging on to a 1-goal lead here in the 3rd period on opening nights at Agganis Arena. You see the matchup in goal. Kellen Briggs from Colorado Springs, John Curry, Shorewood, Minnesota. The matchup, BU in Minnesota.
And the difference basically just been 2 goals through the 5-hole. In by Kellen Briggs, but he has played another very solid game, giving his team a chance to at least come back and tie.
Quick shot, gloved just as quickly by Curry.
Another face-off win for Minnesota. This is one area that they have dominated tonight. This is one area that BU could get hurt on if they can't start winning some on their own end. Defenseman John Harrington getting a good high shot off, has to go high as BU player trying to get across to block the puck. John Curry, though, snaps it in that big glove of his.
Big edge for Minnesota on the draws. This time, BU's Roach gets it. Sent out to center ice. Getting 5-on-5 here. BU with a 2-1 lead here at Agganis Arena. Smaggart in deep. McConnell knocks it away. Picked up there by Borgen. Off the glass, through to center ice. Senior captain Judd Stevens. Offsides. Let's take you back through the season to date as we head into January. Who's been #1 in the U.S. College Hockey Online CSTV poll?
Well, Minnesota has owned that real estate since November the 29th after that big college hockey showcase weekend sweep. We had that game against Michigan on CSTV where they dominated, so could be at stake tonight if they can't come back and at least tie this game.
David Vandergooler carries all the way around. Shot, save, Briggs has it, takes a hack at Zancanaro just as the whistle's blown.
Zancanaro in front there as you get a good look at Kellen Briggs' helmet. There's Brad Zancanaro trying to go for the rebound already with a goal tonight. He's also celebrating a birthday, as is his brother, Peter, who plays at Providence College. Here's a look at the last attempt. Puck's going to go around the net. Vandergooler's going to try and stuff it. Here comes Zancanaro. Pick up the loose change. Can't get to it because Briggs held on to it.
Minnesota comes in deep. That goes wide of Curry. Comes back to the point. Benelli. Sullivan pins it against the boards. Minnesota wants to keep it going. Sent right out to Peltier. Peltier through a crowd, redirected. Save made by Curry. He reached back to stop that one. Quick shot, Benelli. Curry covers up. Stopping play with 9:08 to go in the 3rd. Minnesota buzzing, looking for the equalizer, but Curry keeping them off the board.
The faithful here call it Curry power, and he is hot right now. Turnover. Zancanaro, the birthday boy, is going to give a gift to Peltier at the left point. He's going to get the puck through, a little redirection, standing on the goal line, though, right there
Danny Ehrman, not a player you want to see have the puck from the goal line if you're BU. Hits the outside of the post though, and then jumping over like a terrier, jumping for a bone is John Curry to hold on to that puck.
Towards the far corner goes MacArthur. Radoslavich turning back around, setting it in. BU leading 2-1 here in period number 3. Hirsch carries in. Save made by Curry. Leaves it right there at the doorstep. McGurk comes in. Off the glass and all the way down the ice.
Boston University perhaps just wanting to slow things down, settle them down here a little bit. No doubt about it, they've been giving up some chances, but let's go back though to face-offs again. By taking these kind of icings, Eric, they're giving the puck, or giving the Minnesota Gophers an opportunity to be in the offensive zone, you know, free and clear, especially if they win the offensive zone face-off, which they've been dominating tonight.
Dan McGough, freshman out of Winchester, Mass. Up along the boards, Chris Harrington. Stevens across ice. Sent back by Schaefer. No icing here. Harrington after it. Harrington falls down. Gordon comes in. After it is Evan Kaufman. Talixon. Talixon missed a long stretch of games. 8 games with an ankle injury before returning for Minnesota's Dodge Holiday Classic. So he's getting back into game shape. Has looked good this week here in Boston. Rushed by Minnesota. That's sent wide to Curry. Weston out of Schaefer's reach. Spang. Get the feeling almost that BU's going to have to play a perfect game here to close out this final 7 minutes plus, that Minnesota's looking for that mistake.
Yeah, but you can't play too defensive, too cautious if you're Boston University. Again, you'll give up a lot of defensive zone face-offs, which haven't been a strong suit for them tonight. And also, you're going to rely too much, perhaps, on your goaltender, John Curry, to continue to come up with big saves here at a pressure time in the third.
Comes back out to center ice. Less than 7 minutes to play.
And definitely, you can see BU just starting to back off, sending more just than 2 men, sending this 1 man in on a forward check, especially in the neutral zone, keeping that extra guy back.
Sullivan diving. Got after the puck first. Comes away with it. Works it out. Here comes La Liberty. La Liberty takes the bump. Bumping back is Vandergulik. Fleming comes in for Minnesota. Morgan sends it out, goes to the far boards. There's Zancanaro. Zancanaro had the last goal at Walter Brown Arena last night. First goal in Agganis Arena history here tonight. Minnesota with a chance, streaming in, coming in on goal, and Patolny missed the mark. He's not going to miss that too often. BU dodges a bullet there. Redmond sends it towards the board. Miller works it around. There's Vandergulik. Minnesota right on top of BU right now, keeping that pressure on.
BU playing with fire, though. They're not getting the puck out of their zone or into the offensive zone. Like that time they finally did. Creating turnovers, getting dangerous.
Icing the call, but Minnesota knocking on the door, and they were close to tying it right here. It's 2-1. Well, here's something else that came over from Walter Brown Arena. That Sasquatch, you know, he at Walter Brown, they play Iron Man, the band. He takes off his shirt, gets everybody fired up. Not everybody.
Yeah,
I have to say, honestly, I've seen a lot of BU games. I've never once felt, yeah, I'm just going to go on and have a great broadcast right now. That's one thing I could do without.
I'm happy he made his way over. You can tell that he doesn't get cold during the winter. Got a built-in rug.
Combe did for the big weekend here, though. Final game at Walter Brown and first game here at Agganis.
Went to a hairstylist.
Oh, Spang! Briggs reaches back. The puck ends up here on the near boards. Spang set it from the point. Briggs had to reach back for it. MacArthur Arthur battling. Centering pass came all the way through the crease. Spang sends it right back through. That didn't get all the way to Briggs, however. Now MacArthur looking for it. Turn back. MacArthur has it again. Ewing goes to the net. Bump there from Hirsch as he tries to take it away from MacArthur. But that's one thing with Minnesota. They're known for their speed, but they have been very strong. They showed a lot of strength there. The centering pass comes in front. They've won a lot of one-on-one battles. They've been good against the board.
That was the thing that jumped out the most to the BU coaching staff last night was, yeah, they're a very fast team, Minnesota, but how strong they were as well. They were excellent along the wall. They got the puck to the front of the net, very strong on their skates.
Weston trying to show some of his speed here. Backhander. Briggs left the rebound, and it was sent wide on the follow. Big crowd in the goal. We saw this before. Hansen's going to let him play. They get untangled. Minnesota comes back the other way. Big hit there from Sullivan. Sending Smagger down. Talixon centering pass. Came to the near boards, and here comes BU with 4:11 to go in the third. Terriers leading 2-1. Roach, he takes a pop from Harrington. Pass ends up right in front of Briggs and the Minnesota net. Intensity picking up here with 4 minutes to play in the third. Now here's Smagger trying to make the extra pass. Sent back out. Sullivan not out. Minnesota keeps it in. Now Zancanaro picks it up. Wanted to turn and find a teammate, but Vandergulik was turned under by a Minnesota player. It's Talixon.
Very fortunate right there, Brad Zancanaro. Usually you don't like to make a cross-ice pass inside your own blue line. He got fortunate that nobody was there in the Minnesota sweater.
Harrington sent it through. Vandergulik. Patolny battle on the far wall. Comes out. Touched by Minnesota. No icing here. Briggs comes out to play. Herman is out on the ice for Minnesota. Turnover. Ewing carries, takes a shot. Save made by Briggs. There's the whistle stopping play with 3:14 to go here in the third period. And the physical play picking up here late in the game.
Well, we talked about how BU is impressed with the strength of Minnesota. This time, though, it's BU going to the net there against Briggs, and then Sullivan, who's becoming a very physical force out there. This time, it's Briggs that's given a little something extra to Zancanaro, who loves to be around the puck. Already has a goal on the night. Briggs, the last few times, though, he's had the puck come on him. He made that last save, but 2 times before that, Eric, he's had the puck bounce off and very uncharacteristic to Kellen Briggs.
Pass comes near side to Howe, carries it into the BU zone. 3 minutes to play here in the third period. Radoslavich. Miller for BU trying to get it away. Can't. Centering pass came off the side of the cage, poked out of there by Ewing. Boomer Ewing goes after it for BU, and it's sitting at center ice where Radoslavich will send it to the near corner. Patolny knocked away by the Captain McConnell. Here's a shot that goes wide off the stick of Roach.
I like this, the real solid play of Brian McConnell here. Excellent position there. Very calm. Nothing too hectic. He had his stick in the lane, intercepting that pass.
Near corner. Comes all the way around Stevens. It's going to turn and fires. It comes off the boards. Knocked down in front. Spang got a piece of it. Weston works it off the glass and now out of the zone. 2 minutes to go. Third period. BU leading 2-1. Icing the call. And a big face-off coming up in the BU zone.
Fans don't like it. Good call, though, made by the officials. Harrington might have given a little hesitation, but he's a smart player. Couldn't get all the way back to it. It sets up an offensive zone face-off for Don Lucia's Minnesota Golden Gopher Club. And now they're going to get their face-off guy, Fleming, one of the best they have. He's in the offensive zone. It's the fourth line, but still, these guys have worked hard, gotten opportunities, and he's a great face-off guy, so you get an opportunity off the face-off.
Picked up by BU, and they clear it out. 2-on-2 here for the Terriers. Vandergulik will take the safe route and send it down.
That's an important play, not to be overlooked right there, winning a face-off against Fleming there.
Here is Fleming. They go all the way around, puts on the brakes before he gets behind the BU net. Fleming. That goes wide of Curry. Briggs has come well out of his goal, looking to the bench with 1:25 to go, and he stayed in there. Icing is waved off.
Whoa, that one was helped out by the fans.
Here's Fleming, backhands it in the zone. Briggs looking again towards Don Lucia and the Minnesota bench, looking for marching orders. MacArthur has it. Vanelli has him. They battle behind the net. Picked up by Minnesota. Briggs will inch out with 1 minute to go here at Agganis Arena. Patolny takes a shot. That goes high and wide. Briggs has left the cage. Extra attacker on for Minnesota. BU trying to hold on to a 2-1 lead here in the open air at Agganis Arena. Hansen, the referee, gets tangled up in a pile of players along the boards. He gets out of there. The puck's still there. Erman tries to get it out. Redleys gave him a bump. Less than 40 seconds to play. 6-on-5 here for Minnesota. Ewing flips it out and out of the zone. Minnesota has to reset. Patolny up to Peltier. 25 seconds to go. Picked up by McConnell. McConnell backhands it back behind the net. Here's Roach. Roach can't get it. Vanelli has him tied up. Weston and BU putting on some pressure here, killing off valuable seconds. BU takes away the puck, shot wide of the empty net. 10 seconds to go with the Terriers leading by 1. Minnesota can't get it out. There's McConnell, the captain, shoots. Save made by Patolny as he was heading into the empty net. But BU will win the opener at Agganis Arena.
BU with huge shifts at the end of the game. 3 huge shifts, winning defensive zone faceoffs, pressuring the point men, not allowing Minnesota to keep the puck in, and then getting fresh legs on for the last 30 seconds. McConnell and his line mates keep the puck in the offensive zone as they kill off the remaining seconds. What a big victory. Time now for our players of the game. Chris Chucko. Big game tonight and the only goal for the Golden Gophers. I thought the freshman was dynamic. And for BU, nobody else except John Curry. 27 saves tonight. A lot of them coming in the third period. He gets his 10th win of the season. Made some outstanding acrobatic saves in the third. He is our BU Terrier player of the game.
What a fitting finish here at Agganis Arena. A special night as they open up this building. Furious to the end, but BU opens with a win, much like they did at Walter Brown Arena back in 1971 with a victory over Yale. They win at their new place, too.
They did everything they had to in the third period. Yeah, it got a little hairy for them, but they didn't panic. They stuck with it. I love the way that they were composed. Look, Walter Brown last night, they were disappointed. That was more maybe for the alumni tonight. This is their new palace, and they christened it the right way.
2 teams linked through college hockey history, 9 combined NCAA titles, and they have a great weekend here in 2005. Back to wrap it up after this. Well, happy night for just about everybody here at Agganis Arena, including head coach Jack Parker standing by with Dave Starman.
Thanks, Eric. Coach, it's been a long weekend. The weekend's finally over. A split, great night here. Can you sum it up?
I think both games were great hockey games. I thought we played real well the second half of last game and all 3 periods tonight. So we're playing the #1 team in the nation. We put on a pretty good show. It was nice having them here. We didn't know they were going to be the #1 team when we invited them in for this. But it was a great effort by our guys. And certainly our goaltender really put on a show this weekend. John Curry from Minnesota and put on a show against his hometown crowd. So I was really pleased for him.
Coach, thanks again. We'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.
Eric, back upstairs.
Dave, thank you, and congratulations to Jack Parker. Wouldn't have it any other way.
It has to be
very night at this building.
Very happy getting to open up this building. With it was a great college hockey game. Not many lulls whatsoever. Pretty even overall. John Curry was the difference. Look, he was not afraid to wear a Twins hat this morning. Not showing support for Minnesota. The Golden Gophers showing support for his hometown baseball team, but he really supported his BU Terriers with some big saves.
History is just starting here in this arena, but the tradition goes back for generations with Boston University, and you think about the national titles for each side, but here in the here and now to knock off the #1 team in the country, good team like Minnesota, is big for the BU program. Well, we are great to be here. I mean, this was a lot of fun to close the door on one building, open the doors on another one, and we thank everyone here for their hospitality and a great couple of days here in the Hub. Friday at 8, we'll be with you again. Ferris State and Ohio State on CSTV Friday Night Hockey. For Billy Jaffe, Dave Starman, and our crew, I'm Eric Freed. Good nights from Walter Brown. Agganis Arena. I almost made it.